At that moment, I knew I was what they call dead to the world, but not to the light.
Hello, and welcome to Spirit Travels, where we narrate the extraordinary experiences of people who have glimpsed the other side of death. My name is Maureen, and I will be your narrator on this journey. If you enjoy this content, please make sure to like and subscribe to support our channel. Now let's begin.
My brother and I took a trip out of state to fix my sister's roof. My mom was already there. It took about 4 hours to get there. As soon as we did, we jumped up on the roof and started working. Well, we stripped the roof and uncovered a wasp's nest. Of course, 20 minutes later, I turned my back on the nest and one flew into my shirt and stung me on the back. It was no big deal. I was stung plenty of times before by bees. So I just asked my nephew to tell my grandma to get a potato to take out the stinger. A few minutes later, I felt the sharp pains again. And I was like, "Come on, Randy, my bro. You gotta get the stinger out." So he opened my shirt and said, "Holy cow, it's a wasp. And he's still on you, pumping you up." So he got it off me, but still I was like, "It's no big deal. Let's keep working. The pain will go away, you know?" The tough guy routine. Well, in another 2 minutes, I was feeling funny and hot and tired. I sat down just as my mom came out. She said I better come down. Well, I finally made it into the house and fell on the couch. I felt my heart pounding so hard and it hurt so bad. I was scared and I knew I was going to die. It was a heart attack if I ever felt one. Things started slipping away. I couldn't open my mouth. I was all locked up. I couldn't open my chest to breathe. I saw the fear in my mom's eyes and my sister as she walked into the room. I felt as if I could only talk with my eyes. As I thought, "Please, just get me the phone. I need to tell my wife and daughters goodbye. Please, that's all there's time for. I know it. Please, get him on the phone now." My sister went in the kitchen as I concentrated on her the most. I heard her call the ambulance instead, and that second I gave in. It was too late. She didn't call, and I was not going to say goodbye to my love. It was a really sad moment as I felt myself slipping away. Next thing, I'm somewhere in this lighted place. There was this most supreme feeling about in front of me, and it wasn't just singular. There was a few. I could sense it. Like my head was bowed down. I couldn't quite see, but as the focus came in there were 3 of them, 3 lights in the form of circles, 1 bigger in the middle and 2 smaller on either side. I felt great pressure, as if I were on a trial or something. I was still me, though. No body, nothing of me, but it was me, with all the mind of me. At that moment, I knew I was what they call dead to the world, but not to the light. Then it was like my focus moved to the light on the left side. I was able to hear her talking to me. Yes, that one spoke to me and said, "Everything is all right now. You've done a great job of telling them about Jesus. It was all right now that I may stay and come in," as if she was signaling me with her right hand to go that way into the light now. But a super rush of conscience came into me. All of a sudden, I had a panic feeling within my soul. I became abrupt with the light. I was scared and felt like I had to plead my case. This is the following of what I spoke to the light. "No, I can't. I can't, not now. I gotta go back. I gotta go back now. I gotta go back now because if I don't go back, I don't think that there's anybody else down there that loves everybody enough to want to save them all like I do. I mean, all of them." I almost didn't know where this came from, but it was in me. That would be the last moment in the light. I then felt myself falling down. As I came back just above my body, I could see the room and my body. Not clearly though, because there was an unusual amount of paramedics over my body. Like something really bad was happening down there with me, but I couldn't feel anything. Then I looked and seen my sister standing behind the paramedics, just screaming and crying. I could see her eyes, and her face was red, and the tears were streaming from her eyes. They were like red eyes at that point. Then to her left was her daughter, just looking like, what's going on? She was afraid only because she was seeing everyone else losing it. The I entered my body, like I fell down into it at the same time as like sitting up inside myself, up in my head. Then I could feel the life coursing back into my body. Every vein, every cell, it burned. My whole body just burned and hurt. I was feeling again. Yet just before, I had absolutely no pain. Then slowly, I could hear the room and everybody was screaming for me to come back. Come on, just take a breath. I couldn't. My lungs were collapsed. I couldn't open them up. I had no strength to do so. I felt like I was slipping away again. Then I tried again. I can hear them now again. Just one more breath, come on. Okay, I will. They got this mask on me, and it's blowing air into me, but it's not enough. I need more. Won't someone please take this off my face and just blow up my lungs? Just once? Please, I need help. This was what was going on in my head. I tried to take it away and talk, and everybody in the room just was like shouting for joy. But I still needed help. Don't celebrate yet. I can't breathe. Then it hit me. I got my wind. And now I'm a little embarrassed and asked to go to the bathroom. They said, don't worry, we've got to take you in. Well, when I came back, I had wet myself and defecated too. I didn't know when that happened, but it must have happened when I was out. Then they tried to move me to the bed from the gurney, and all of a sudden, I just leapt onto it myself. All the people just jumped backwards as if they'd seen a ghost. I was like, what's the matter, man? I'm alive. I was so pumped up to be alive. They were like, you got a lot of strength for having an anaphylactic shock and being just dead a few moments ago. I was a bit confused and then silent, remembering what just happened. I fell asleep when I woke up in the hospital. My sister was there, kind of massaging my head and staring at me, rubbing a tattoo on the side of my head. The first thing she said, because she'd never seen this tattoo before, was, "What does this mean?" It's of a cross with the words, "Me Jaman God," inside of it. I got it because I always believed so hard in Jesus. All I could do was start crying, because that was all about what just happened and where I came back from. Life after death, for real, forever. And now my search for some missing pieces, and I'm finding them all. All the things about the Bible has been my insatiable urge. There's something else in all the words, between the lines, as if I can now figure out what the prophets were talking about, other than the obvious. I heard of a Bible code. I read those books. They brief it, but they're so far away from the right interpretations, the places, the people, the concepts they were trying to pass. It starts in the beginning, and they all continue throughout it. Only the priests of today are misinterpreting it for power over the people. They themselves are blind guides, now leading the people wrong, but I can't be mad at them. I know and found out and can understand the whys, why it all happened this way, better yet, well, the best yet is that I know this whole thing happened so that I would be led to it. What was being hid by the sons of light? You get it now. They all knew how it was going to turn out. They all knew how the people were going to turn the scriptures around for their own sick pleasures of control, locking up the gate to heaven, and they themselves won't enter. They knew more than the ones with greed. They knew these things would surface in the future, so they buried them in the words until a time came when one could figure them out. Why is this happening to me? I ask. Why am I figuring them out on this quest to go back to God like my NDE? I felt like I was the only one who loved them all enough to want to save them all. Let's just say my first trip to Israel, they said I was crazy and wouldn't get into the temple because of the El Fatah. But he said I was going. I did. I had the faith. How could I not? Everyone here tried to talk me out of it or scare me away from it. They thought I was crazy. When I got to Israel, I told them, and they thought I was crazy. It is a whole other story, but on the last of a 14-day trip, on the last hours, the Spirit entered the guards at the gate. I was permitted to enter after 2 days of being refused, denied, and made fun of by the Israeli army and by the Palestinian army. Abu was my guide, and he couldn't believe that I did it either. He was right there by my side. I got a picture walking out of the temple on the peak of Mount Moriah by this boy out of nowhere. The last non-Muslim to walk in the Temple Mount was Ariel Sharon, until the moment I entered. It was nothing short of a miracle from God, and my life just keeps getting deeper into the mind now. The scriptures are still leading me every day to the answers of what I am to do. It is as if the book was written in a way for me, to jog my memory, to remember where I put something. And now I remember where it is and how to get to it. But I'm waiting for the right time to be told to me, the right time. I know the season, I know the day, I know why it is like now I'm being prepped with knowledge of the Lord for that day. I can't tell you everything though, and I'm sorry for that, but it will be soon. Of course, if you believe, you have nothing to worry about. It's all about the love, a love that I have for everyone. I can feel so many people's pain. I feel groups of pain. It's like I feel the compassion for them all. They've all been led astray, kind of compassion. I hurt inside so much when I see others' pain. It drives me to find the cure. The crying, the abuse towards the daughters of the world, how they mislead them into being the way they are. It's scary how far we've gone away from His path. We've taken it all for granted, all of us. But the only way to do it is to fix it. All of us have to do it together. It won't happen any other way. We all have pieces to the puzzle, so as to say. Every piece that we kill, we lose and fall a little more until we pick them back up. The children, they are the princes to the throne. All of us are the children. All of us are the children of the light, and no one is going to be left behind. You know how I know this? I feel it. I am it. I have compassion right down to the last murderer, thief, psycho, freak, crippled, lost soul. Thus like the Lord has spoke to me, if you believe in me, not one of my sheep will be lost. It is my shepherds now who are lost, and they need the love brought back into the light. There's so much that burns bright inside my head. I don't want to distract you from your study of the light experience, but I could go on for days without even getting tired of trying to explain to someone how to believe it is all true. But then I know what it is that will set it all off. All I can say now is, if anyone at all reads this, I hope it is understandable. My thoughts fly like my compassion, with a fire under my, almost like desperation, but it's not. It's patience that needs practice. I really do love you. Whoever reads this, it's all true. I have nothing to lie about. I only have everything to share with you. I know, though, one day I will prove what I have found, because I guess it's the only way to make the world see that the Bible is not just any old story about being good. It was written by those who have seen the light. Read it again, and then you people who've seen the light, remember how you had a hard time using words to describe the sight that you've seen. Now read it again. The callings of Moses, Abraham, Jacob, the prophets, Isaiah, Jesus, Muhammad, and you see for yourself how they describe their callings from the light. Maybe it was just for me, because they all had a description of a threesome of something. All of them. One bigger in the middle, with two on the sides. You see, I never picked up on it until it happened to me. But I cried so hard as I read every one of them again, for the upteenth time. The apostles, too. Come on, wake up. Moses described it as a burning bush, and all the Israelites have seen it. It was their calling, and it is yours too. Ours too. We need to fix the garden. It has everything we need. It has enough love for all. If we would only share it all. The writings of John, a hidden, buried reading from John that the churches would think it was a part of their scriptures. He describes himself crying so hard at the moment they were killing Jesus. As John was sitting in the Garden of Gethsemane, he had a vision of light. Within the light, he's seen three forms within the light. As they spoke to him, this would put the spiritual resurrection only moments after the death of Jesus. Not 3 days, not the dogma stuff. This is why it was buried and not accepted as part of the canon of the church. I never knew any of this writing taking place until I got to Israel on that trip. It was as if I was being led to that information, just like I was led here to this site to share this whole thing, my knowledge, my love. Sometimes I think I believe in Jesus more than anyone, because the picture that I'm uncovering is much more beautiful and full of love than I could have ever imagined. You can absolutely say, I now read more by the light than by the darkness of powerful gluttons. I see clearly now, and I know as soon as I try to put these things out, they will try to take me out again. It's bad news for all those in their lost world of money and power. That is why Jesus said it would be harder for one who's rich to get into heaven. That's why the apostles were told to give what he gave without price, because you'd received it without price. Okay, I'm sorry to keep going on, but only for now. As now I write and tell everyone, until later, my friend, because I can no longer believe in goodbyes either. It seems so morbid, because I now know that there is no death. I will see you later with all my love forever. I'm crying even now, just as I cried with every story of the other NDE years. I only hope, if you've done the same, if you've felt the same warmth in mine and cried out of happiness and renewed confidence in life, in love, and in God. It's like my shield has been rebuilt, and the fear is not going away. It's not going to take these things away. You know, when you break down the light, you see it then becomes the vibration of beautiful music, waves of light. Isn't that what scientists took so long to figure out? That it's all vibes or vibrations? Okay. Until later.